Hi, this is Chet here from Avion Technology here in the Chicagoland area. We are a digital agency that works with other digital agencies and small businesses. We also work in Salesforce and Microsoft Business Central, and of late we've also started working in data science and AI. But today's topic is actually about something that we care a lot about, which is small business success. A lot of our clients are actually small businesses, mom and pop shops, 500,000 to a million in annual turnover, and a lot of our clients are also small agencies in that same range, and a lot of them kind of struggle with almost the same issues. What am I going to talk today about? I'm actually going to talk today about the power of negotiating, right? This is something that has, so to give you a little bit of a hint of a backstory, back in 2009, I had gone to a workshop, and the workshop was conducted by a gentleman who taught us, or taught that cohort, the power of negotiation, right? And he made a very interesting point. He said that everything in life is actually a negotiation, and come to think of it, everything is, right? So remember when you got married, right? There's a lot of emotions in it. There's a lot of, it's a very personal thing. But if you look at it, actually, technically, that is a negotiation, right? You are promising to deliver something in the future against something that your partner is promising to delivering, and then that's how you come to marriage, which is in its essence a contract, right? Look at war, for example. War is an extreme form of negotiation, right? Where one country says that we have exhausted all other means of finding a solution, so we're now going to resort to violence. So war is also a type of negotiation. So learning how to negotiate is an extremely important skill. And like any other skill, it has its own frameworks. Now, there's a lot of frameworks available out there. There's BATNA, for example, which is best alternative to a negotiated agreement. There is ZOPA, which is zone of possible agreements, I think. So there's a lot of different frameworks. You can kind of study those in detail. And by the way, before I go any further, I am not an expert in any of these things. All of this is just information that I've read or heard over the last 20 years that I've been in business. If these are just conversations to kind of touch on topics at a very high level, if you want to go a little deeper, you can always research and Google more. But the takeaway from today's lecture is that you should know, if you're in business or if you are in any kind of a career, you should know how to negotiate. Now, if you want to learn how to negotiate, you should have a framework to negotiate, right? Negotiation, more often than not, is done from emotions, and that's usually where most problems start, because we kind of have a nebulous idea of what we want, and we usually do not have an idea of how we're going to get there, right? So think about it. We are extremely ambiguous about what we want, and we usually have a very ambiguous idea of how we want to get there as well. So when we do not get that thing which we ourselves were not very clear about, we take it personally, we get offended, and because we have not thought it out, we will have some knee-jerk reaction that just escalates everything further, right? That's usually the escalatory ladder, what is called the ladder of escalation, right? I've also seen that more often than not, in a lot of negotiations, the escalation ladder is usually reached when when the ego kicks in, right? Because there is no limit to the ego, right? Once the ego kicks in, you just cannot solve anything, right? So the first thing when it comes to negotiation is get a pen and paper together and write down what you want from this, right? And what's the best framework for a layman to understand, right? If you've not read 100 books on negotiation, or if you've not done a PhD in psychology, I call it the BMW Framework, right? Which, very easy, stands for best case, medium case, and worst case, right? So in any situation, there's usually a best case. That's your dream situation, right? That's like, this is what I want, right? This is the best situation. And usually there's a medium situation where there's a little bit of give and take, but it's not the best alternative, but it's not the worst. And then there's the worst case situation, which is like the worst case, right? We all know what a worst case is. Now, there's two more that you can add to this. One is like a super best case, right, where which is also we've seen, that happens sometimes, where you come into a situation and things turn out to be way better than what you expected, right? That's like a super best case. Sometimes you have a super worst case where you get into a project and it's just like a disaster from day one, and that's like a super worst case. But still, when you do this scenario planning, when you do all these simulations, or what's called war gaming, right, what does end up happening is that more often than not, in business and in life, you get wiped out by things that you did not predict, right? So you take a big loan and the economy has been doing well, the interest rates are low, so you take a big loan. What you're doing is essentially you're doing a gamble on the future, right? Now what if the economy tanks? And then suddenly you have all these bills you have to pay, but you don't have the cash flow, right? So that was a situation that you had never predicted, or probably you had predicted, but you didn't give it enough weight, right? So what happens with this is that you develop a framework, right? And you've kind of war gamed the situation out, so nothing takes you by surprise. So today I'm going to talk about two situations, one from the agency side and one from the client side, right? So imagine that I have contracted agency A to develop a website or an app, or or to develop a SaaS project for me. I was funding this from my own expenses, and at the last minute there was this little change that I wanted, which would really give me an amazing foothold in the market. This is the feedback that I got from my stakeholders, is that get this little thing done, and you will have you get a lot more customers. So I went ahead and I spoke to my developer about it. Unfortunately, they told me that that's going to cost another $3,000. I do not have $3,000. I'm funding this entire thing out of my personal income, and I do not have $3,000, right? So my best case would be, I asked my team, would you be open to some kind of an equity or something like that, where I don't have to pay you, but it's I don't have to take money out of my pocket, some kind of equity sharing situation. My medium case would be where they come back to me, I ask for a super discount and they say yes, we are willing to give you a discount, or they give me a payment plan and I work with their payment plan, right? The worst case is that they say no, we are not going to make this happen, you have to pay $3,000, in which case I take up like a weekend job and fund it that way. Okay, so I have my best, medium, worst case situation worked out. Now let's take it from the client's perspective, right? The same situation. There's a scope creep on a project, and the client says that he needs to get it done. Best case, the client pays for it. Medium case, the client kind of pays for it, but you give him better payment terms, net 30, net 60. Worst case, the client says, I can't afford this functionality now. I always say this: don't let go of business, right? Work with your clients, right? So usually we have this predisposition to kind of prejudge clients, right? And it's something that we have in us naturally. It's a byproduct of evolution. But we take a look at someone and then we know that we know his past and we know his future, and we do that all the time when we're selling in our business. So a lot of times someone who dresses well and who's very well groomed, we look at that person and we're like, oh my god, this client is going to be my best client 10 years from now. And that's usually not the case, right? In my personal experience, some of the clients that I had who ended up giving me a lot of business came to my office in wearing sport shoes and in a pair of shorts, and but they had the best ideas, and they ran with it, and they're multi-millionaires, and they also helped my business grow. So don't prejudge your clients, right? Work with them. Don't fire anyone unless they are crossing what I call the line of civility, right? Where they're not even civil with you or your employees anymore, in which case then it is time to fire the client. But other than that, don't let go of clients. Work out a situation with them. Most importantly, negotiate. We are kind of dazzled by role models who take extreme measures, right? We love role models who say you're fired, right? And that's the kind of world we sometimes live in. where some doing something extreme is kind of like, yeah, wow, look at him, he's so aggressive, he's so type A. But I've actually seen that the best managers are really good negotiators, the best CEOs are very good negotiators, and I have personally seen that most of the really good negotiators are negotiators who ensure that both the parties walk away from the table with a smile on their face, right? Back in the day, that used to be called win-win. I think the win-win thing is very cliched. What I think it is they know how to align everyone's interests so that everyone walks away from the table happy. I think at our core, everyone wants to do good. That's the bottom line. I've still not met a single employee who came to work every day saying that I really want to suck at my job. I've really not met a single client who says, I want to destroy you. Usually that's not the case. Everyone wants to do good, but everyone has some constraints, right? Like I always say, there's something hurting, right? And what negotiation does is it helps you to kind of unravel, open the box, and see what's working, what's not working, what could work, and then you kind of get all that together. The important thing is that you keep going forward, right? Often in a winner-take-all world and in a winner-take-all approach, we just stall, right? Because we don't know how to negotiate. We just stall the whole process. And once, especially in the agency world or in the product world, once the process gets stalled, it's very difficult to gain momentum again. So if you are an agency owner, if you're a small business owner, I would definitely, one soft skill that you should definitely learn is how to negotiate, and learn that by creating some kind of a framework that you use for negotiation. That's very important. For me, this BMW has worked really well over the last 20 years. Best, medium, worst case. Remember, don't take any extreme measures. Don't have a no taking prisoners approach. You never know, but the client that you're firing today might end up after 10 years. You might end up regretting that decision after 10 years because life is funny, right? So yeah, this is Chet here from Avion Technology here in the Chicagoland area. We help a lot of small agencies scale up. We help a lot of small businesses scale up. If you just want to have a conversation with us, this is my email, this is my phone number. Please do give us a shout and let us know how you liked our content. We're newbies at this, at YouTube videos, so the feedback is always important. Let us know how you liked it, where we can improve, what we can do better. If you like the channel, press like, press subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much.